Hey, what you reading? I'm the AC, and I've read quite a bit. But actually, what I'm going to talk about in this video is stuff I've read while I was on a trip. Didn't have much else to do, but I took notes because I wanted to remember, because I did want to talk about what I read. And it's not just one series or one book, it's a couple works from the same author, Christopher Bair. And one is a light novel series called Mariko Takashi, and the case of the Mariko Takashi series light novel. They're pretty short reads. I'll get to those later because first I'm going to talk about something a little shorter. It's called Talons, a little novella. And all of them are quick reads. But this one was a standalone thing, and it's about Talons, a reptile person. He apparently was turned into a reptile kind of guy 350 years ago. He lives in Milwaukee, which I think is somehow impossible for him to have lived in Milwaukee 350 years ago where he got turned, because I'm pretty sure there weren't white people in Milwaukee back then. Even if let's see, doing some math, that would have been like 1650. I don't know. Maybe he was like a Native American. But he talks about how he was a detective. I don't know. His backstory isn't completely clear. But what it is about is he's wanting to come back into like human society, get accepted there, and his first thought of doing that is to go and speak to the chief of police, Carl Harris, and he's like, get on his good side. He thinks of all the other people he could associate with. This will be his best bet. So he does. It goes off immediately a little shaky, but he quickly is accepted by Carl. And so it kind of just, he goes about his day trying to figure out how he's going to like integrate himself in the best way with Carl's help. And then he comes across a murder. And then he also sees that there were two witnesses, a little boy named Tommy and his mom, Wendy Powers. They're threatened by the murderer. He goes, finds them, says he'll protect them. He has a couple run-ins with the murderer, who apparently seems to be a skilled assassin. And like, he says he's just a businessman. He's just doing business. But he's a lot more skilled to just be a businessman. He's definitely an assassin. But yeah, the characters seem to make weird choices to me. Like, not bad choices. Like, everything of course works out. It's just, I guess you wouldn't know what kind of situation you're finding yourself in if you're a lizard person. He immediately has to like come out to the public because, one, it seems weird that this giant lizard person in like barely disguise, he still has a tail, he can't wear anything on his feet, so I don't know. He kind of sticks out to begin with, but he's revealed pretty early. And it's nothing about the writing, it's just the characters themselves seem like they do stuff weird, but you can't complain if it gets the job done. But yeah, so he doesn't want to get close to Wendy because he starts catching the feelings and like whatever. And I guess he doesn't feel like he wants to be accepted, even though everyone accepts him really quickly, which seems a little unrealistic. I mean, if you think about reality, if you saw a lizard person run around, everyone would be a lot more scared than what happens in this book. But it's also a nice kind of sentiment to be like, oh yeah, a story that just accepts some weird thing. Even if people are a little hesitant, they're not like pitchfork and mobs going after him. So yeah, it's whatever. It was a nice short little story read, but that was just the first one. Next we're going to talk about the Mariko Takashi series. Now there's three that I read. I don't think the fourth one's out yet, but they are The Case of the Gremlin Horde, The Case of the Visiting Changeling, and The Case of the Living Dinosaur. Apparently a fourth one's going to be coming, hopefully, right? Soon? Let me know. Case of the Elling Wizard. Now, they're short, but they have illustrations. I love the artwork. Don't remember who did it. But it works. And it's frequent enough. It's almost like at the end of every chapter, if I remember correctly. And what's about? It's about this school. Does the school have a name? Hughes High. Yeah. And the main character is Alvaro Jameson. Yeah. And he stumbles upon Mariko Takashi, who is a witch. And there's this portal in the school, and she was trying to like maintain it, but he stumbles upon her. It startles her. It lets a little gremlin loose, and that's kind of where the story takes off. That's how they meet. He apparently wears some kind of glasses that lets him see magical stuff, so that's why he ended up finding her, and this happened. And he becomes something called a null, which is like someone without magical powers that is kind of like a, not servant, but like helps the witch. Anyways, so he has a friend, Matias Gonzalez, and then Mariko's dad is Robert Towers. She's adopted. And then their antagonist, kind of not really bad guy, I don't think, but is Jimmy Worth. I don't know. Even looking at a name, I still get it wrong. So, the first one, Little Gremlin. Not much is going on too much. I won't get into the stories too much because you can read them. They're short enough that you can read, but I'll tell you the parts I like. Yeah, Little Gremlin. Not much. It's pretty much just it's not really a whodunit kind of story. It's a find what's wrong. It's like a hide and seek kind of. They're just trying to figure out where the gremlin went. It leads up to something. The second one, Visiting Changeling, it gets a little more intense. A changeling takes the form of a student. They're trying to figure out which student that could be, and it starts getting a little more violent as it gets on. A couple deaths, and then the third one, my favorite, because the third one is action-packed, pretty much a lot of the time. Someone is reviving dinosaurs, animals. It's the first one to visit outside of the school. Alvaro visits a museum. It just happens that these eggs go missing, and then all of a sudden there's dinosaurs. And there is a lot of killing. In this one, it really ramps it up, which I enjoyed. It was great. But it's also, first one to go outside of school. It's a nice change of scenery. Eventually, he has to call in Mariko to come help, because even though there are other wizards, for some reason she's the one that is in charge of everything. I guess all the other ones are busy with other stuff, like her dad, who is apparently a super powerful wizard, comes in and has to end up helping with everything. But it gets going and it's good. But it's interesting. Just how the magic works. So there's a white spear and a black spear. The white, I'm going to list off them, is conjuration, divination, illusion, incantation, invigoration, protection, and transmutation. This is what Mariko is learning. She's on the white side. She's working on divination and protection magic. Her dad actually uses both and apparently has mastered all of them, which is cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him doing really cool stuff. I mean, it's cool to see characters grow, and Mariko is kind of just a little spitfire kind of thing. She's kind of acts bitchy, but whatever. And, she warms up to Alvaro throughout these 3 books. I guess the typical thing is, like in any story, maybe in the 4th, further on, they're going to start really liking each other. I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll stay platonic. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And then going back to Jimmy, who pops up mainly just to be an inconvenience because he uses black magic, which consists of evocation, destruction, evocation, invocation, malediction, manipulation, and reanimation. And he focuses a lot on manipulation, and he uses that a lot on Alvaro. Eventually, it starts messing with Alvaro. At one point, he even goes in the monster room, and that messes with him anymore. Alvaro is kind of just getting shit on a lot in this story, and it's like he doesn't really try that hard to change who he is. He kind of just still tries to be a normal person, because he does realize Mariko is kind of using him, even though she doesn't want to, because she had her powers taken away for letting him even witness her. So that's kind of why she's mad. But I mean, there's nothing you can do at that point. He tried his best. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how these characters are going to keep growing and how more amped up the story and action is going to get. And 3 books, even if they're short, it's cool. And like, I read these back to back, so it's a little weird because each one, he always starts off with like re-saying or like summarizing a little bit of what happened in the previous book. He doesn't flat out do it. He incorporates it nice and weird. It was just weird because they are short. I read them right back to back. So I guess if they're more separated, when I read the 4th one, whenever that comes out, I'll be more appreciative of it. I hope there's a 4th one. Haven't seen anything else yet. Let me know, like I said. But yeah, let's see. You get some of this past. Oh yeah. Yep, a lot of killing as it goes on. What else do I have to say about it? Oh. Stuck with Alvera until she's 18. So apparently that's 3 more years. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't want to get into the stories too much. I do that a lot. I'm usually pretty spoiler heavy, but that would be a whole lot. That'd be a whole lot of notes I would be reading. But yeah, those are the main things I thought about the story. What do you think? Have you read these yet? Have you read Talons? They're both all interesting. I'm looking forward to whatever else I find by him that I will read. But yeah, let's talk about some books, what you read, and all that good stuff. And, you know, it's that time to be reading when you don't have that much else to do. But you know, reading's not a bad thing anyways. So, if you like what I said, go ahead and like the video. If you want to see what I'm reading and hear me talk about it more in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You will get to do that. But until then, I am the AC. Thank you for watching, and bye.